Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Carrie Oderman with UATV. The mutual withdrawal of troops and military vehicles from the line separating Ukrainian troops and Russian-led forces has been postponed due to recent shelling from the occupied territory. Ukrainian troops were ready to do so if the ceasefire had continued for at least 7 days, but it didn't happen. The Chief of Staff of Ukraine's armed forces said the new date for the pullback has been set for October 14th. To discuss this, we welcome today to our studio Oleksandr Levchenko. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for you.
It seems like the pullback of the troops, the Russian-led forces have this in their hand. What problems will Ukraine have with being able to go forward with the Minsk agreement and the Steinmeier formula, in your opinion?
Of course, it's a part of Minsk agreement, but now we see that another side, so-called separatists and which covered by Moscow and Kremlin policy, actually destroy this process. And we should wait, for example, our proposition 7 days. It's normal, 7 days with ceasefire, and then the process of restoration of this situation and fulfilling of our second item of Minsk agreement. Actually, we show to our partners, to European and world community, that Ukraine has very serious intention to realize Minsk process, to realize all items of Minsk agreement, and at all to realize policy which declare our new appointed President Vladimir Zelensky to reintegrate temporarily occupied territory of Donbas.
Now, we report here almost every day of the Minsk agreement being violated by the Russian-led forces. If part of the negotiating or part of the plan is to wait at least 7 days before this is actually carried out, is this a stalling technique from Zelensky? Is he making the international community aware of the fact that he's ready to negotiate, but only under the condition of the 7 days, which he knows will probably never happen?
It could be repeated again, but all responsibility now at the other side, at the separatist side, the Russian Federation side, and we show that we have this serious intention to realize this peaceful process, but some politician in Moscow and this Luhansk and Donetsk separatists actually destroyed our intention, and not our only intention, it's intention of international community, because Minsk agreement was supported by the resolution of Security Council of United Nations, by the European Union, of course, of members of Normandy format, France and Germany, and it shows that policy of Kiev is very serious, very fundamental towards to peace resolution of this conflict. And we see another side, and we see the policy of Moscow, which actually want to destroy this peaceful process.
Something our international viewers might not understand is the Normandy format is a negotiation between Germany, France, Russia, and Ukraine. Now, by having Russia negotiate for the separatists, aren't they admitting that they have their hand in the Donbas? That's something that they've been denied. How is this part of the negotiations?
Of course, they denied their involvement to this conflict. They want to present this conflict like a civil conflict, civil war. But I suppose that official Paris, official Berlin, official Washington, official Brussels know very well that, unfortunately, a lot of Russian troops deployed now at this territory of Donbas. We calculated about 3,000–4,000 of military. It's special troops. It's special troops, and of course they have big influence to the policy of so-called Luhansk and Donetsk People Republic. And of course, they want now to stop the process of realizing intention of President Zelensky to discuss problem of Donbas and the Normandy format at the end of October of this year.
As someone who's worked very close with the displaced persons issue, what's going to happen to the people in this area as this back and forth continues?
Of course, it's little bit maybe some worries from these people, but actually we're speaking about big plan which allow Ukraine to return not only territory but in 3 million people. It's the first or second step for returning our territory and 3 million people. And of course, I suppose it's normal process. This foreign, yes, they have this foreign, but you know, Ukraine deploying some policemen at the Zolotoye, close to Stanica Luganskaya, and I suppose that they have guarantees of the personal security to live at this, unfortunately, not secure region.
How would that look like in practice? Once the troops pull out from both sides, do you think that people would want to return to the area?
It depends on the view of every family. If they want to transfer their family inside Ukrainian territory, Ukrainian side could allow, provide and support this intention of this family. If they want to stay at their flats, their houses, okay, we should protect them as we could. We have our troops close 1 kilometer, only 1 kilometer. We have some policemen inside this territory, close to our citizens. And what I saw in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Croatia, it's absolutely normal situation. Absolutely normal situation. It's only transitional period to achieve a big result in the process of the reintegration of temporary occupied territory.
Russia has not yet confirmed that they'll be able to advise the troops there that to pull back. What's going to guarantee that the elections that should be held under the Steinmeier formula will be fair and free?
Actually, they block to realize this formula of Steinmeier because it's a small step. It's not directly depend with this formula. But formula speaking about this law of implementation law of local election on the temporary occupied territory. How you could realize this idea of election if we couldn't stop ceasefire? We couldn't realize the process of mutual understanding of this territory. And of course, now we could show to our partners that another side actually stop any proposition of Ukrainian side of Normandy countries members to realize all items of Minsk agreement, and this is only the second item of this agreement.
It's an interesting historical point that you brought up in your experience as the former Ukrainian ambassador to Croatia. Historically, the model for the Steinmeier formula might be what they used in Croatia.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you think that's what Frank-Walter Steinmeier had in mind?
No, I'm not sure that maybe he has a lot of advisor, diplomatic advisor. Actually, Germany was involved, deeply involved in this peaceful process also in Croatia in the middle of 90s of last century. But actually, Formula Steinmeier, it's not a peaceful resolution. Formula Steinmeier, it's not a peaceful plan. Formula Steinmeier, it's only precising of one from 13 items of Minsk agreement. Actually, to us, it's if we implement this formula, we have a ticket for Normandy summit in Paris. Okay, we agree with this proposition of our partner, and we are ready to implement this formula. But now what we see, other side don't want to implement this formula.
So basically, this was a small concession made by President Zelensky to make sure that the Normandy format goes forward. Russia was very much in support of the Steinmeier formula. They see advantages. What advantages exactly does Russia see?
If they see some advantages, why they block to realize now this process? Yes, because this ceasefire and this process close to Stanitsa Luhanska, Petrovskaya and Zolotoye, it's actually a predisposition for realizing this formula. Why they stop this process? Actually, it shows that they don't want to realize this peaceful process where formula Steinmeier a small part of big peaceful plan.
That's an interesting viewpoint that unfortunately we're going to have to end on today. But perhaps as the civil society is looking at it, its Steinmeier formula isn't a capitulation because the Russians aren't gaining too much, in your opinion, quickly? Yes or no?
No, of course not. What a capitulation? Capitulation is if you refuse to return temporarily occupied territory. And now, after 5 years, we not return this temporarily occupied territory. It's capitulation of our policy. Why we didn't receive this territory during these 5 years? Only because we didn't have more serious intention to implement all items of Minsk agreement. New president has this intention, and this process of implementation of Minsk process and all items, 13 items of this so-called Minsk II agreement. And I am quite sure that we have predisposition, even Russian side tactically blocked, or Normandy summit, or realizing of this formula. Of course, Ukrainian side has another plan how to fulfill the results of peaceful reintegration of temporarily occupied territory. And if we will have fiasco in this process of Steinmeier formula, okay, we should wait Ukrainian proposition and our view how to realize this Minsk process.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your invitation.
That was Oleksandr Levchenko, ambassador of Ukraine to the Republic of Croatia from 2010 to 2017, and ambassador of Ukraine to Bosnia and Herzegovina in 2011 and 2017. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more with UATV.